It's just so backwards. You end up, living life, and, live spelled backwards is evil. To live your whole life not in your full potential. Lived spelled backwards is devil.
Oh, yes. No kidding. And, of course, part of the problem has been the heavy veiling that we undergo when we come in. And as you said, the newer kids, the crystals and rainbows and the rest, and even walk-ins, come in with a lot less of that to cause them to forget. In other words, their memories are more intact, and they are holding on to them, and they understand things better.
Oh, their memory's intact because of the older generations who've been holding this frequency. Like I said, this acupuncture of the light, situated in the location of the planet where they're at, sends a message to the heavens, and this is almost like a sacred geometry of light, which allows the souls to come forth with more memory.
Wow.
Because as a collective, they can accumulate that. It's almost just like a computer. Once you amp it up, it takes on the old memory and new memory as well. It makes it much more stronger and faster because of what we've learned from our old computers and how they operate.
So it seems that things will be exponentially more intense if that's the case, and more incarnating. Yeah? Okay.
Yes.
That's what I thought. Will there be a turning point when we'll be pretty clear about what's going on? I mean, that we'll know that we're in this
Revelations.
Yeah.
What does that word mean? Come to light of what's unknown. Not the end, but the beginning.
Yeah. I keep waiting for them, and it seems like that,
Don't wait for it. Just start doing it. Embody it in every moment. Know you're already there. Because what is time? We know it doesn't exist. Past, present, and future all existing at the same time.
That's right. That's right. And we're not.
It's really being a disservice by waiting.
Yeah. You're right. You're absolutely right.
And that's one of our little tricks and traps, and that's something for us to, be savvy enough to catch on to. And figure out, because of all the patterns of how many times we've done this.
Oh, yeah.
There should start to be, the deja vus, the reminders that keep us on track to this certain probability of victory. Graduation time.
Oh, yeah.
And then when graduation time occurs, and the planet will no longer be quarantined, because the planet's been quarantined as an alien ant form for quite a while, and the reason of that is because we're just not responsible enough, we'd go out into these other worlds, and we'd probably do the same thing that we've done to our world, we don't take care of each other, we don't have the understanding that, tribal cultures have had. Like Bali, it takes a whole village to raise a child. Did you know that in Bali? If
no, I did not.
A baby is born there, the whole tribe comes to greet the baby, and they don't put the child down for 2 years. And these children don't grow up violent or at all. They're very peaceful and gentle. And when asked where they got that idea from, they said they got it from the dolphins, because the dolphins do the exact same thing when a child enters the world. They come from all over the ocean to greet this new baby dolphin. Can you imagine what that would be like if we did that in our little communities?
Oh my God, it would be so different.
It's not just on the parents.
Yeah, and we can do that.
We can. It's super easy. I mean, this situation that we find ourselves in, which seems so scary, is just trying to get us out of the survival of the fittest, every man for himself kind of mentality, and to bring us together. Look, we're all in our little individual houses, our individual little lives, and we're lonely, yet we're surrounded by people all the time. Don't you think there's something wrong with that? I mean, we're all like, we all come together and work together and use each other's beliefs and truths to complement and complete the bigger picture, rather than putting it down or agreeing to disagree all the time, because that is really, held us back for quite some time, and it's not necessary. It really isn't.
Yeah.
It's just fear and insecurity and us wanting to defend that in darkness, because, if you're sleeping and you're enjoying the darkness, and then someone comes in and turns on the light, your immediate reaction is to dive under the covers back to the comforting darkness again.
Yeah, that's right. And then, of course, the ego is a bit involved with that too, the clinging to be right and so on and so forth. So
I'm right and everyone else is wrong kind of mentality.
This is so many problems today.
And pointing fingers, everyone's fault but mine. Yeah, They're like children.
Yeah.
I can understand why we've been called children for so long.
Well, I can surely understand why we're quarantined. With all the horrible weapons that we've developed, and I was just reading online the other day that the military wants to weaponize space by 2025, and they've already they're already doing that with the chemtrails overhead. On a daily basis, they're spraying those chemicals in the air, and it just goes on, and genetically modified food, and it just never seems to end.
It will. With these weapons that they're talking about, first of all, they're bombs and they're missiles. Most of them are deactivated because our star family has deactivated them. Conscious souls on the planet, young children have been able to deactivate them.
Wow.
And all they have basically is to just tell people that they have the bomb. The people don't need to know anything, else about it. It will send enough to give them in a frenzy and more, able to control kind of a thing.
Yeah.
It's like a bluff. And I mean, they're wanting to do all these things because they're basically caught on an addiction. This is their cycle. This is what their reality that they're going towards of what they think is right. Mm-hmm. But I mean, it's again like you just got to help them with their addiction. Got to help them to. That's what I see it as. If they're addicted to fear and hate, if that's their food. Then they'll find out in Monsters, Inc., the monsters that were getting energy off of the people who were, off of the children's fear. Right? Remember that? Oh, I refer to a lot of cartoons, and then in the end they find out the child's laughter is a lot more stronger. But they're just basically trying to battle to have their own paradigm, their own reality, but it's not going to happen. They're still they're playing it up as much as possible because this is a really interesting life where nothing is what it seems. And it's just wanting us to take responsibility and step back into our power and realize, in Wizard of Oz, wait a second. You're just this old man behind the curtain, and I have all the power all along. Oh, my goodness, right?
Yeah, I love that movie. And I think you're right. I think that really pretty much sums up how it really is. And all that fear and the scariness and having to kill the witches and go through all these different things, and it turned out that they had the power all along. That's quite a wonderful esoteric story. Now, are you traveling now? Have you been traveling around lately? And are you finding more and more starseed and like-minded people all over the world? I mean, does it seem like are you meeting them?
Oh, yes, constantly, every day. I'm going to Hawaii on Monday, and then I'm heading back out to Sedona for the gathering of the elders from all over the world. But it doesn't matter where I go, I tend to run into them, even in the most unlikely places. And they usually recognize me. They say, they know me from a dream that I was in their dream as a dream guide. Wow. Only they said that was when they were 5 and they're 60 right now. So I've been working with people for a very long time. And again, it's just like a family reunion. It's just wonderful. Sometimes we don't even need to say anything. Just look into each other's eyes and just beam. It's great.
Yeah.
Very exciting. And, they have, I find that they're psychic, but they just need to trust themselves more in it. Really, everybody is psychic. The only reason some can do it and some can't is because of trust and fear, right? Because a lot of times I find if I get something like a yellow house with purple flowers and a gravel driveway, that doesn't make any sense to me. But if I have the guts enough to tell the person next to me, that was the house I grew up when I was a kid, and, immediately triggers all these things and they're able to heal. So we have to be brave enough to share these messages with each other, because it's not meant for one person to have all the answers and to be the savior and fix everything. It's a co-collective, co-creational process, meaning each person has a piece of the puzzle that is valid. Each alien race has a piece of the puzzle and is valid. Each animal and insect has a piece of the puzzle and is valid, and each one needs to work with each other.